So this is my trusty 2008 Honda Fit. It's been with me for more than a decade, well over 100,000 miles, a cross-country move, and a heck of a lot more. And I love it. It's great. It's been reliable. It's done me a lot of favors on projects. And it's cute. It's small and efficient. It's surprisingly big on the inside, like a clown car. I find myself frequently using it to move 8-foot materials from the hardware store. And it's great that it can do that. I fit kind of a comical amount of framing lumber in this car over the years. But I can't put things like drywall sheets inside of it, and considering how frequently I'm doing this and I've scuffed up my dash from leaving stuff on it, I think it's time to build a roof rack. All I need out of this is a roof rack that lasts probably about a year. By then I hope I'll be able to upgrade again. And I have a fair amount of leftover scrap pressure-treated wood from previous projects, so I'm going to be using that for a lot of the frame and the crossbars. This new piece is literally just for my side rails. I'm going to be mounting them using sheet metal screws with rubber gaskets to the roof of the car, just some strong 90-degree brackets, and then I'll have each of them on a little platform made out of this rubber sheet so that it doesn't ruin the top of my car any more than the holes that I'm going to be drilling into the roof of my car on purpose. But anyway, so I'm going to get measuring and see what we got. Got my measurements for my max length and width, front and back. I'm going to make the footprint basically as large as I can, because I want to be able to put significant support without too many edges hanging off if I'm ever moving stuff like a couple sheets of drywall or a big piece of plywood. The back of my car is narrower than the front, so it's going to be a slightly trapezoidal shape overall. I'm going to go ahead and get assembling indoors. I'm going to make the whole roof rack flat on the ground, just so I know that it's squared out best I can, and then I'll worry about doing the offsets once I get it on top of my car. Figured out my relative offsets for the front and back. I'm going to be adding 3 legs on either side just to pump it up a little bit so I can get ratchet straps underneath whenever I'm tying stuff down at the top. All right, slightly janky and probably viable. Let's find out though. Got all my brackets bent to their final good enough angles such that when they're tacked down they're relatively vertical. Marked all their positions. Got my little feet, and I'll also be using roofing screws with a little weather seal built into them to tack these to the roof of the car before I attach the frame. All right. Some of you may be thinking, that looks bad. And you're right. But the roof of my car was already mangled, and it's this weird mottled gray because I covered it in Plasti-Dip a few years ago, and I mostly just use it for projects, and I don't think I can care about that right now. I'm going to go ahead and Plasti-Dip these two, just, I guess, to seal everything a little better, bring it together, and maybe protect it from a little bit of the weather, but that's it. This is actually good enough for me. And then I forgot to document the actual process on this, but I 3D printed some of these sheaths for weatherproofing and a little bit of additional stability and aesthetics. All right, there you have it. I guess let's go get some plywood now. One of the very first things I used the new roof rack for was to pick up a bunch of overlength pipe and materials for an installation art project. Some friends of mine ran an absolutely massive dance event in downtown Seattle this past weekend. It's fusion dance, a type of partner dance that I've been doing for about the last decade. They rented out a hotel with a beautiful 2-level ballroom that used to be a sanctuary, with a grand historical pipe organ and more. I was offered the opportunity to create 2 pieces of large-scale installation art to bring home the decor theme, which was Neon Circus, and motivated by motifs from the excellent book The Night Circus, I designed a lighted big top tent sculpture and a 3-faced grandfather clock in Blender, which were then built in collaboration with Selena Annis and Lexi Renoir. Both were designed as wireframe sculptures to be built out of a mixture of PVC, ABS, and PEX piping, and then covered with muslin of 2 different colors, with hardboard details, some laser-cut filigree, and 3D printed parts, and an obnoxious amount of soldering, but we won't get into that. Both packed up as modules and then assembled on site. It was an enormously challenging but also gratifying experience, and I'm super pleased with how the sculptures turned out and what they added to the venue and the event. For comical extra credit, here's what my car looked like on the return trip, with both sculptures broken back down to their components and strapped to my roof rack for the hour-long drive home. About as good a stress test as I could have possibly hoped for. Anyway, thank you all for your patience with the time it took me to edit episode 2 of The Spaceship. There will be more soon. Looking forward to seeing you then.